everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Maxine and Dodger both find themselves in a difficult situation when the puzzle pieces finally fall into place for Grace. With the stakes so high, who'll come out on top? Maxine and Dodger try to imagine a happy future away from the village. But Maxine knows that Dodger needs to focus on punishing the people who took his family. She encourages Dodger to stay and finish off the job, while she'll leave. Later, Rex and Grace give Dodger an ultimatum of their own. Meanwhile, Frankie tells Dylan that she has met a man with dance connections. Dylan doesn't want to stand in Frankie's way, so he makes himself scarce and gets Frankie an empty house. Later, when Ray's friend arrives, Frankie lashes out and locks herself upstairs. Grace Black was always known for her sharp instincts and her ability to uncover secrets others were desperate to keep hidden. However, when she stumbled upon a shocking revelation that involved Maxine Miniver and Dodger Savage, things quickly escalated to an entirely different level. The aftermath of this discovery would not only affect the lives of the two people she cared about most, but also place them in the middle of a high-stakes situation that threatened to unravel everything they had worked so hard to protect. Maxine and Dodger had been through their fair share of challenges over the years, from betrayals to heartbreaks, but nothing could have prepared them for the web of tension that Grace's discovery would soon weave. The discovery happened on a quiet afternoon when Grace was going through some old paperwork at the local bar. She had always been one to dig a little deeper when something didn't seem quite right, and today was no different. As she sifted through the documents, she found something that immediately caught her attention: an unexpected link between Maxine, Dodger, and an event from the past that had never been fully explained. At first, she dismissed it as nothing more than a coincidence. After all, Maxine and Dodger had a complicated history. But as Grace dug deeper into the information, it became clear that this was no mere coincidence. Something far more dangerous was at play, and it had the potential to ruin everything. The information Grace uncovered was devastating. She learned that Maxine and Dodger had been involved in a secret deal with a dangerous figure from the past, a figure who, until now, had stayed out of their lives. This person had connections to the criminal underworld, and their involvement with Maxine and Dodger could have serious consequences. Grace felt a chill run down her spine as she realized that if this secret came to light, it could destroy everything Maxine and Dodger had built. The repercussions would be far-reaching, affecting not only their lives, but also the lives of those around them. Maxine and Dodger had always managed to keep their pasts hidden, but Grace had a way of seeing through the facades that others put up. She had known them long enough to understand their vulnerabilities, their fears, and their desires. She knew that if this information ever got out, their lives would be turned upside down. The question was, how far was she willing to go to protect them? Grace decided to confront Maxine and Dodger with her discovery. She wasn't sure how they would react, but she knew she had to tell them the truth. They had always been close, but this was something that would test the strength of their friendship. Maxine, in particular, was someone who had a lot to lose. She had worked hard to rebuild her life after everything that had happened, and the last thing she needed was for her past to come back to haunt her. Dodger, too, had his own demons to face, and the thought of their lives being destroyed by a past mistake was enough to make him question everything he had done. When Grace sat down with them to reveal what she had discovered, the tension in the room was palpable. Maxine's face drained of color as she listened to Grace recount the details of the deal they had made with the dangerous figure from their past. Dodger, ever the calm one, remained silent at first, but his eyes betrayed the storm raging inside him. He had always feared that their past would come back to bite them, but he never thought it would be something so dangerous, something so far-reaching. Maxine, on the other hand, was visibly shaken. She had hoped that her past would remain buried, but now it seemed like it was all coming to light. The discovery placed them in a precarious position. Grace was offering them a choice. They could either confront their past and risk losing everything, or they could try to cover it up and hope that no one else would find out. But Grace knew that keeping the secret would only make things worse in the long run. The criminal world they were tied to wasn't one to be trifled with, and the longer they kept the truth hidden, the more dangerous it would become. Maxine and Dodger found themselves caught in a moral dilemma. Should they come clean and face the consequences, or should they do everything they could to keep the secret buried? They knew that no matter what they chose, the fallout would be severe. There were people out there who would stop at nothing to get what they wanted, and Maxine and Dodger were now firmly caught in their sights. As the days passed, the weight of the decision began to take its toll. Maxine became more withdrawn, her mind constantly racing with what-ifs. Could they really go to the police and confess everything? What would happen to their family and friends if they did? Dodger, too, was plagued by doubts. He had always prided himself on being the protector, but now it seemed like he was the one who needed protection. Their world had always been one of uncertainty, but this was different. This time, their very lives were at risk. Meanwhile, Grace's own feelings were torn. On the one hand, she felt a deep loyalty to her friends. She had always had their backs, and she wasn't about to abandon them now. But on the other hand, she knew that the truth had to come out. She had uncovered something that could bring them down, and she couldn't let it fester in the shadows. As much as she cared for Maxine and Dodger, she knew that the only way to truly protect them was to ensure that they faced their past head-on, no matter how painful it might be. The pressure continued to mount as the days wore on. Maxine and Dodger could no longer avoid the inevitable. They had to make a choice. Would they turn themselves in and face the consequences of their actions, or would they continue to live in fear, hoping that the past would remain buried? Their relationship, already strained by the weight of their secret, was on the verge of breaking. Grace, too, found herself torn between loyalty and the harsh reality that sometimes the truth was the only way forward. In the end, the decision came down to one moment of clarity. Maxine and Dodger realized that they couldn't keep running from their past. It was time to face the music, no matter how difficult it would be. With Grace's help, they made the difficult decision to come clean and confront the dangerous figure they had once been involved with. It was a gamble, one that could either save their lives or destroy everything they had fought for. The fallout from their decision was immediate. As soon as the truth came to light, the people who had been waiting for the right moment to strike made their move. The danger was very real, and Maxine and Dodger were forced to fight for their survival. But despite the peril they found themselves in, they knew they had made the right choice. They had faced their past, and in doing so, they had taken control of their future. The high-stakes situation that Grace's discovery had placed them in was far from over, but Maxine, Dodger, and Grace had proven that they were stronger than they had ever realized. Together, they had navigated the treacherous waters of their past, and they had come out on the other side, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The truth, no matter how painful, had set them free. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Hollyoaks Update YouTube channel for more update news.